Meanwhile, waiting for a couple of people to come. Okay. Yep. Okay. Tum, tum, tum. Okay, I think we can start. We are recording this, and we're recording this to a YouTube unlisted link. This is to make sure that we can record this in both in here and also in YouTube and share with all of you in an easier manner. So just be aware of the fact that we're recording this. I think Zoom should send you a notification about that as well. So welcome. My name is Lena. I'm a part of Tech Hub Riga team, and we are doing this series called Outgrowth in order to kind of help you and do workshops and smaller lectures around the topics that could be of interest and could be of use to you. Those of you who are interested into creating your own startups or new businesses, or those of you who are thinking about it, and even those who have already started and need just more information and more kind of like an overview of things and understanding. Especially in a situation like this, it's very useful to do workshops like these that are online in order to give you some of the information that is lacking in the usual meetups that we organize and the usual in-person events that we've done so much and the startup community in our region usually does. All in all, a couple of brief information about from me before we start. I just wanted to say that all the information and all the links we will share with you in a newsletter. So in case you haven't received one, please send us an email or a message into our Tech Hub Riga email or to our Facebook page. All the key elements we'll share in there, and I'll also share a couple of firstly resources and also a calendar invite, a public calendar in here in the message chat, so that in case you want to follow up and not miss out on the lectures, you can just add the public calendar in your Google Cal, and it will have all the Zoom links and all the specific dates and times. So it just makes life easier for us and for you to not miss anything out. Apart of that, there were questions in the application about the recordings. As I mentioned previously, we will record them and we will share them with you afterwards. Some of them will also be shared in the Labs of Latvia website. So there will be a variation of places where you can get access to all of this. The last thing that I also wanted to mention is that briefly during this presentation, I wanted to share a poll with you. That would be great if you can fill in. There are a couple of very basic questions and it's anonymous. It will just help us to understand what are the topics that are more interesting to you, because then we can cater that towards the topics and inform the lecturers about the key things that you're interested in and about the more necessary key points which to touch upon. So whenever you can, I will launch it in a bit in your free time. As long as it's open, just click the things that are in the poll and pick and choose in order to help us kind of grasp the situation of our attendees. Okay, now on. Today we have two wonderful speakers. We have Viesturs Sosars first, and then Tanya from PandaDoc, who will both share very, very insightful presentations. Hopefully that will be useful to you and that you can use in the future. Also, please make sure that you ask questions. There's an option for Q&A in here. All in all, this presentation, these lectures are meant to help you. So the more questions you ask, and there are no stupid questions as usual, the better it is for us and the better it is for you, that you can actually get the answers that you came here for. So please don't be shy, ask questions. Speakers will be very, very happy if you do so. Okay, so I'm gonna give the floor to Viesturs, and afterwards Tanya, and then in the end, I'll just briefly say goodbye to you. Okay.
All right, guys. Hello. We're sitting in the same room with Lena, so that the weird looping sound you hear is the outcome of that. Okay, hey everyone, welcome. Happy seeing you. Not exactly seeing, but seeing a few names, a few familiar names to me as well. When Lena was inviting me to talk about kind of a foundations of lean startup kind of way, like mindset, like a way of thinking, I really like asked back, but who's going to listen? Because for many of you, maybe the concepts are well known. For some of you, there are even practiced. So, and I got the answer that this is most likely those you are, and I think that's the matter of Paul as well. Most likely you are people who are wannabes in a sense, who either starting up now or plan to do so. So I think I will really try covering a few like conceptual things of how you think about building new products and services in a light of lean startup practice. So let me share the screen, I think, so which I can't. This is I should ask Lena to like allow me to do this. It's not yet working that well as we thought it will. Make me host or co-host. That's probably the way to go. Yeah, okay. So now I'm trying to share my screen with you guys. So hopefully it's seen. Okay, so I can move on. So right, so I try to be brief. I invite you asking questions, and happy also engaging in objecting or sharing. If you in a concise form of writing, you can share of your experiences. But I'll try to really get from things from ground up. Hopefully, for those of you who are practicing something in a space of building products or services, that would be interesting. But hope for those who haven't been indoctrinated in those ideas so far, it will be a good starting point. Okay, let's start with a few definitions, not because I'm fond of definitions, but sometimes you have to have that little discussion in order for us to talk about the same subject. So what's a startup? And this is rhetoric. I'm not expecting you writing down the answers now, and all the answers are right or wrong, depending on the stance we're taking. Let's go for one of the most popular startup definitions of the guy from Stanford, Professor Blank, and he says that startup is a temporary organization designed to search for a repeatable and scalable business model. Many bullshit bingo words there, but bear with me, we'll get back to that definition in the very end of my little keynote, and we'll see how that unveils. So few words are more known to us and few are less known. So follow up question is, what is that heck a business model? Which is that scalable and repeatable thing, which you should be searching for. It's in my simplified world, that's my simplified definition of the academic definition, that the business model is the way how your business is going to generate revenues, or is generating if you already have the working business model, or they will be generating, you hope it will be generating when you have one. So with that in mind, what's the main thing for a startup? What is the only, if you're starting up like really early and later stage, what is the only thing startup in practical terms? This will be very practical, I promise. Should take care of. Again, in my simple world, the only thing or the main thing for a startup is to figure out that way of generating revenue before you're out of the cash. That's simple. Because if you're out of the cash, that's end of it. In one or other form. Yes, you can enthusiastically go for a while, but pretty much that's it. So in essence, the only thing you're optimizing when starting things up is figuring out how you're going to make money before you're out of the money which you're able and assuming to dedicate for that. And the trick here is, as probably you have already kind of intuitively understood, that not the startups are risky endeavors, it's risky businesses. So the lean startup in essence is a mindset that allows you building new products based on evidence and not assumptions. Not exactly according to your worldview, but according to some findings you get and gather out there. And the main reason for this is to minimize the risks in doing it. As from the entire concept of building on evidence, there are two practical approaches coming out of it. One, it's towards building products itself, and this is agile development, and some of you are probably, I believe, definitely familiar with that. So it's iterative development based on smaller chunks of product, like bringing product or service further. All development processes come in smaller chunks, and actually every of those is somehow validated against the real world in a simplified terms. The other consequence of thinking of this lean startup approach of building on evidence is all the practical mindsets and toolkits of business modeling and customer development. And this is something I'm briefly touching upon, where I'm not going to talk about agile that much. I'm going to talk about the modeling and customer development principles as part of the lean startup thinking process. So once again, the main goal for this is not done for just sound smart or nice. The main goal is to minimize the development in case of agile and the market adoption risks in the case of business modeling and validation of those assumptions. So it's pretty much trying to build with small risks, because if you're building something that is far from the market, you can't have paying customers tomorrow, which is one of the characteristics of scalable things, namely startups. That you have somehow to minimize those risks before the market, before the uncertainties are too high. So business modeling in essence is none of the, sometimes business modeling is associated with some particular toolkit, with some particular calendar or something. The business model in its essence, it's a mindset, a habituality coming up with assumptions of how this revenue generation will happen. So you have to come up with certain assumptions on what are the most critical things which will make you generating repeatable and possibly scalable revenues. You have to then look at those and see at a given time of development which are the most critical ones. They have even a name, the abbreviation for that, called leap of faith assumptions. So something that makes or breaks your entire assumptions on your business model. And then you change them based on evidence you gather out there. And that out there could take very different forms, we'll talk about in a minute. This is the entire concept of the business model. So you come up with assumptions which are critical for generating revenues before you do that, which you think are critical. Think which ones are the most urgent to test them, validate or invalidate based on the evidence, the insights you're getting out. And how you get the insights out there, that part is called customer development or hypothesis or assumption validation. To basically make sure that you understand whether you were right or wrong with this. Broadly speaking, there are lots of ways how to test them. Broadly speaking, there are three groups of tests. One is so-called exploration methods, which means that those are the methods where you clearly stay out of selling context. So you're not selling anything and just trying to walk in the potential customers or some other important stakeholders in your business model context shoes. Like understanding what is their problems, what are the context of the use, what they want to achieve, what's broken in their lives, etc. And also try testing, we'll get back to that in a second. But basically, you're not selling anything. And there are two most typical exploration methods, validation methods by exploration. One is customer interviews, which means you really talk to your customer and understand what is that they think about, not what you think, but what they think about the use case and the problem and the pains associated with it, etc., and how they perceive what would be the biggest value a solution can bring into the case. And the other method of non-selling or exploration method is surveys. Surveys are super cool for quantitative questions. Surveys suck at qualitative questions. You can't get the answer, the respondents of the surveys into storytelling, which you most probably need in the beginning to understand and to empathize with the problem. So surveys are cool, but at a later stage, when you just have to widen the outreach and get more sort of interaction with potential customers, but they're not necessarily very useful in the beginning. The other type of customer development or assumption validation methods is so-called pre-selling, which is completely, and that's why they're divided, it's completely opposite from the exploration in a sense that you try to test sell something. You try to either fake the sale or really sell something. So throw it against the wall and see what sticks. And again, prevailingly, two most prominent of those methods is either landing page tests. So you set a kind of a campaign, a product page, not your website, it's a different story, but this is just dedicated to the product, which tries to convert that visitor into some kind of action, either with a big button saying buy now, or some softer conversion. Order now, become a tester, whatever suits your purpose. And then if you can have sufficient amount of eyes on that landing page, mostly through kind of little banner campaigns, then you can publish a few of them, like 2 of them, and tell 2 different stories on them and see which one resonates more. Meaning that what is the percentage of those who are trying to do something about it, sign up, buy, subscribe, so on and so forth. It's very effective, specifically or especially in situations where, because of the nature of your product, your customers are not within the reach of interviewing them. It takes a little skill and a little time, but generally speaking, you can unveil lots of things about the customer. Equally, not only faking, but really trying to pre-sell something, you can take pre-orders. It could be B2B pre-orders. You just can come up with the idea that you ask some of your prospective customers prepaying you, and if they do, if they are okay to pay for you, not only your deployment and but also for your development of the product, then it's most probably a good sign. Or in a B2C context, and B2C stands for business to consumer, and B2B stands for business, probably. That's also the lingo we should sometimes refer to. In a B2C world, if your customer is not a business but a private, like a physical person, then there are plenty of concepts how to take pre-orders as well for the products and services. Through the same, you can do it your own page. You can, for products, you can have heard definitely about crowdfunding websites where you can try testing that out. So think of crowdfunding always as a pre-selling solution validation test rather than raising much of money. And concierging is a third type of a method, limited to the situation where you want to build a product out of the service. So you fake the product with a service in a back in the office, sort of servicing every inquiry, pretending that you have some kind of automated or semi-automated product. The beauty of concierging, if you can, is that you can relatively quickly understand what the customers are asking, and then build that product around what they're asking, not building many unnecessary things. That was the title of my presentation itself, so how to build the products that customers need. Let's a little bit zoom in and see how does that look from the lean startup standpoint. So first question, and you can actually dissect, you can zoom into each of those words. First is a customer. So what do you mean by customer? Who are the customers for your product? Who exactly? Can you paint an archetype, devise a persona? Who are users? Users are the ones who use, and customers are the ones who pay. So are those the same as the customers or not? Lots of B2C products, think children and parents, or lots of B2B products, think CFOs and then someone who's going to use the product, are not necessarily the users in cases where users and customers meet and match. So there is something you should build in for both of them, both the users and the customers who will make the decisions, purchasing decisions or paying decisions, generally. What is the use case? What's the context? What do they want to accomplish? What's the bigger picture? In what space are you? Are you making their sleep better? Peace of mind thing? Are you making them earn more? Are you making them spend less? Are you making them eat healthy? So on and so forth. What is the bigger context of that thing? So this is all regarding the customers. And those questions are actually the questions, if you're really early with your startup idea, these are the questions you start with most of the times. They actually have fancy term. These are product market fit hypotheses, as opposed to growth hypotheses, which come later on when you have to grow and scale your business. The next thing, let's look in that order of my question, the need thing. So what actually are the problems of those specific customers who have identified as potentially yours? In that given use case, you kind of think there is. Are there really problems like pains need to be solved? Are those severe? Maybe those are not severe, but frequent and annoying. Two different stories. Once in a lifetime, severe pain, or a frequent pain of every morning. Different contexts, different ways to solve them on an emotional level. What additional gains probably with your product or service those customers may yield? Are those gains purely functional? Is it about cheaper, quicker, better quality and easier? Or is it something on top of that? Is your product making them to belong to some group, or be different from a group, or fulfill some other emotional need they may have? The next part, the next thing in a sentence, the word product. What in a solution which you're building, and it could take different ways, what are those values the customers perceive as the most important? Can they rank them? Is it like really you're killing some pain? Are you a painkiller? Or are you just a vitamin, a gain creator, which just makes people feel better? Which is a big deal in most occasions as well. Which of those features, and then distill down from the values, from like solving the problems that only then go into the features. So which features you think could be there, add most of the value, which then explicitly leads to the question in what order you should add the features. There could be features that are having the biggest, the most value as perceived by your customers, and this is probably something that part of your minimum launchable product or service. But some may come later because they either not that important or are important to a subset of customers. Then also a feasibility part. What is easiest to launch? Not necessarily you're in a position to launch your product with the most valuable features. Oftentimes you, let's be honest, launch it with the easiest feature list rather than the most valuable. But again, trying to keep in mind that they should be sufficiently valuable that at some point you can exchange them for money, the way the civilization stores value by now. Which brings us to the last of those questions. What's the best way to monetize the usage? For some of your products, it is super easy answer. Per unit, per hour, per month. Some of you, very difficult. because not all the products, and particularly actually the software-related products, are easy to monetize. So can you come up with something that is a monetization strategy that is best for you, yields you the best outcome, at the same time being the most convenient for your customer? Actually, the different monetization compared to your competition can set you efficiently apart, because the product is perceived differently by your customers, if that's the case, to be desired. So there is not only, purely technological or product innovations out there. There is business model innovation and revenue model innovation and lots of other things. So think in a broader context, what adds value, and a different and more convenient monetization strategy actually adds value to the customers. And the last but not least, how to build. We've seen that. Following this simple, efficient, but hard to implement way of thinking about things. You make an assumption, you test it, you gather evidence, you proceed with building, or change assumptions and then repeat with the next assumption or next changed assumption. So this is the answer, and that's would end up eventually building on evidence rather on your imagination of how this is going to work, which, as we remember, saves you most likely money and enables you to minimize the risks of development and product adoption. So in one word, you're building things iteratively. And for how long? You iterate until you reach the product market fit. And what's the product market fit? Thanks for asking. That's science of traction. What's traction? Traction, again, in my interpretation, in a simple world, is sales. So Facebook likes is cool, winning startup competitions is cool, but that's not exactly traction. Traction is something that says that your product market fit is real, not just a hypothetical one. So this is something that paying customers, in other words, is something that differentiates hypothetical business models from working business models, from real business models. And it's probably a summary of all that, of everything I wanted to say as for this super basic intro on a mindset. That probably, there's one thing I want you to remember, guys, is this. By starting up or also building new products and services in existing companies, you should employ two mindsets, and always in this order, and never mix them up. Until there are no clear signs of traction, which is paying customers, you should maintain an experimental mindset. It's not about efficiency. It's not about running horses as fast as you can. It's about finding what works. However, once you found the proof that someone needs it and is willing to exchange it for money, aka you found the product market fit, then you should execute like a hell. Because then the rat race starts. That's the moment when you are trying to get to the market first. So it's all about executing fast and efficient. And this is pretty much, I think, the lesson I wanted to share with you on the basics of lean startup, approach a lean startup practice for building new products and services. As I think there also the slide deck of this will be shared. I just leave it to you with a few ideas on what books are super helpful for finding like exploring those things deeper. This is beyond my 40-ish minute presentation, because this is indeed something you can try figure out how it works the best for you. And now I end with that, what we started with, Steve Blank's definition. So the entire concept of starting up, and the entire concept of lean startup mindset and practice is to clearly understand that a startup is something temporary. It either becomes a flop or it becomes a company, dependent on whether it has figured out a repeatable and scalable business model or not. And the entire mindset of doing that should be optimized for search. You have to get to the working business model, preferably in one piece. So thank you. If there are questions, super happy to take them now. Do we have?
I can't see.
You can't see.
No, there aren't.
There are? I maybe don't know where to look. Open question. So, okay, at least we have one person more. Congratulations. Yeah, good. But okay, there is something. There is something coming. Hey, what is my? Okay, I didn't talk about myself. My bad. I've in one or other capacity have been involved with entrepreneurship since, I like to use the term, almost entire millennium. So this is about 19 years, right? Which is, during that time, I've built companies myself, mostly, 7 of them. Some sold, most flopped. I've been also investing my own money as a sort of a business angel. I never got there because it's an activity which requires like certain regularity. I did it 4 times, didn't up so badly, but actually I was, it just wasn't my thing. Then I also I was managing a boutique investment fund, an early investment fund back like about 10 years back. And currently I don't have my own startup. I want to think I'm in a sabbatical between the last one and the next one, whatever it is. And I mostly, for about the last 2.5, 3 years, I mentor startups, advise corporations on corporate innovation, and as well as teach students occasionally. Okay, Anders writes me. Yes. Okay, there are a couple of things. So first of all, Peter, the follow-up question. Yes, this indeed is exactly what I'm doing. When I have, new ideas, I model them and I test them. If I see they're worth my time of testing them. Yeah, indeed. I really practice what I'm preaching. Again, that's why I didn't go in detail about particular modeling formats, but I do every time I think there's something there. I'm happy to. I really test it quickly because this everything I told is in my life bought in very expensive way. It's years and 6-digit numbers in not testing your hypothesis before you launch. So I don't do that anymore. So back to Anders' question. Are there alternatives? Super cool question, Anders. Thank you. Actually, and this is a philosophical question, and I know Lena hates when I start philosophizing, right? But it's a cool philosophical question of whether there are alternatives to approach. I would say yes, if the money is ridiculously cheap. And here's the logic. If the money is cheap, because mostly the risks you're minimizing are about you risk of running out of that cash. Remember what is the main thing of a startup. So if you run out of the cash, everything's ending. So if you have, in theory, indefinite amount of the cash, then you innovate differently. And this is actually oftentimes a great discussion with my corporate customers. So if the money is cheap and they could put up, they're not, the time is more of the essence than money, and they can put up a few millions, then you just have 10 teams doing different solutions, presuming at the same time in a waterfall without an iteration, presuming that one of them will hit. And this is actually post to 2008 crisis time, when the money became super cheap in the world. Not in our part of the world, but in some parts of the world, actually the lean startup approach suffered, because see, Anders, where I'm going, and others, I hope you can follow that. If there is this, if you're not in RF, you're not afraid of running out of the cash, then the iteration cycles are not that beneficial, because you can solve the thing differently. You can do it over again and pour unimaginable amount of money. But the good news is, first of all, early stage startup funding is so asymmetric that saying that there's plenty of money there, it wouldn't be exactly true for even bigger ecosystems. Secondly, in our case here up in the northeast of Europe, there is definitely still the money is a scarce resource. So lean startup, quick and small chunk iteration is still a preferable method to launching startups. That would be my answer. But thanks for asking. That's a good question, because oftentimes, sometimes people think that the lean startup is answer to everything. It isn't actually. Right. Anything else? That's it. So let's look at time. So I'll be around. I'll be around for the next hour as well. So if you come up with some questions in my address, I'm happy to take them as well. So I currently then we switch to. So first of all I stop sharing my screen. That's rule number one. Okay, good. Tanya, are you there? Yeah. Ta-da!
Yeah, I'm still
cool.
Here. Hi.
Good. Hey, so.
Okay, so thank you, Viesturs. I hope it doesn't, the sound doesn't go around. Thank you, Viesturs. So the next speaker will be Tanya. I'm sorry, Tanya, I'm constantly afraid to pronounce your last name incorrectly, so I do it for precaution.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I will give the floor to you. Please share some info about yourself. I wrote a bit in the newsletter that I shared with all the participants, something about you that I know, but it will be great if you share a bit of information of how you got where you are, what you're doing at PandaDoc, and then go on to that. Okay, so Viesturs is gonna give you permission, I think, because I gave it to you.
Okay, yeah. I can screen share yet. Yeah, so I would say virtual hi to all of the attendees. Happy to be here. Okay, I'm the host now.
Now you can. Yes.
I can share. I can present. Awesome. Okay, we're good. Yeah, so like Lena said, my name is Tanya. I work at PandaDoc. Not sure you heard about that. Just a couple of words about basically our company. So PandaDoc is a B2B SaaS product. We do software for document automation, and our product is very popular among revenue teams, among salespeople who make proposals, contracts, quotes, and stuff like that. We're quite big, so we already have 20 key customers worldwide. We're like kind of already like serious startup with about 300 employees all over the world. But basically, we're started in Belarus. So very close to Riga. Guys, our founders are originally from Minsk, and then they moved to California. They raised some money. They like hired a lot of people. Then they raised more money, hired more people, earned more money. So like that's how we're rolling. So the usual startup story, very fun. So me personally, I work at PandaDoc for 3 years already. I do the thing we called product-led growth. If you heard of such a concept, it's like a very popular thing nowadays. And I'm also related to Salto Network as a mentor. So this is how I got here. Basically, Salto invited me to talk here at this awesome event. My personal path includes about 12 years of experience in like around IT products in different roles. I started off as a developer, so I used to code. Then I did some design, UX design, project management, and then I got into product management finally. And the last like almost 7 or 8 years, I'm mostly doing product management, which is everything that is like from idea generation to execution of different product hypotheses. And the last 3 years, I'm at PandaDoc, helping PandaDoc grow. I also failed a startup of my own together with a team. So we also passed through several interesting stages some time ago. And the startup started at Garage 48 Hackathon by Ragnar. This is also how I got into Salto. So like this is all interrelated. It was a failure, but it was fun. I'm also a mom, it's just a fun fact about me. So I'm trying to make it all work together. Yeah, so this is me. What we will talk about today. So I will basically, we will talk about a simple model of helping your startup or any kind of business grow, which is called a funnel. And we'll talk about like very common funnel stages for any businesses that do software as a service. Hopefully it will be useful for you. Most of the examples I will give are for business to business tools or like for tools with subscription, recurring subscription business model. It's a bit like one-sided, but I hope that you will find them useful because like basically the funnel concept in itself can be applied to everything, not only to SaaS businesses, but also to your Tinder dates or whatever you're basically doing. And I will bring a couple of examples of how do you grow. And I will give some examples only for the first stage for the acquisition. Basically, how do you test if your idea for a startup can bring in a lot of users to your landing pages? How can you find those places where to find users and attract them to your startup idea? So probably, I hope that it's probably the most useful one for people who are starting off. So what is a funnel? Like product funnel. A funnel is a model that is helping you to see how many people are moving from one step to another, from like the place where they start a journey in your product to a place where they do some event that you consider to be useful for you. Usually it's when they pay you. So everything, like every journey step on which a user is making should be like, it's a stage of a funnel. So when a user moves down, you see how many people are dropping off at each stage. And when you see the drop-offs, it's easier for you to optimize like what's going wrong in between these steps. Maybe the user experience is wrong, or maybe there is some bug in your product, or maybe something else. But having a funnel helps you to understand where your biggest way of growing of making people pass through this journey without any complications. Like I said, it could be like it's a model, so it could be applied to anything, but basically how you make it is you mark each like interaction of a user with a specific page or a step in this flow on which the user is journeys. And you build like a graph of how many people were on this stage, on the next stage, and on the next stage. So this is an example from Amplitude. So they showed a funnel among users who started with a search for a song, a video. Then some of these users played song or video, and then some of these users shared a song or a video. So this is quite a popular concept. You have no, well, like hope it's clear, but like it's super useful, and it's like a basic way of optimizing the path of your users towards conversion. So again, so like a product funnel is a model that illustrates the customer journey towards the purchase of a good or service. But like if your product is not about purchasing, it's okay if it's something that is actually making you want what you want user to do, to purchase or to share something or to do something else. Yeah, so like I said, why do you need a product funnel? So you are looking for stages with these biggest drop-offs where you see that some people, well, didn't follow through. So a lot of people didn't share a song, and then you can investigate why and find out the ways to improve the situation. And when you improve the situation, you can compare two funnels. So basically, you're like trying to optimize the stages. In a world of SaaS products, there is like a ton of tools that you can use. Some of these are free. So like some of these are like hardcore. The most popular analytical tools are in this picture. I would recommend you to look at Amplitude because it has a very generous free tier. So basically you can have 10 million events for free. And then you have to pay like a huge amount of money, but by that time your startup should already be able to do that. So their tool is the easiest one to be able to build funnels for your product. Typical funnel stages for the whole product include, like if you heard that there is like pirate funnel, so acquisition, activation, retention, conversion, expansion, virality, and churn, and sometimes resurrection. So these are the common names for where the people are, where the customers are, how they move across their journey to like a life cycle of a customer in your product. So a little bit about each of the stages. They usually define through like the so-called exit gates. So acquisition stage starts with a person who landed on the website, and then it ends when the user is signed up. So you already got the information about this user, his email, phone number, some kind of data that helps you to identify the user and continue talking to this user or continue to engage. So the user is signed up. That's like everything before the sign up is called the acquisition stage, and the ways you're trying to optimize this stage is like you're trying to land more people into your website and to make them sign up. The activation stage is between sign up and the so-called activation event of a user. Activation event is something that user does, which makes you understand that this user used the product in the way you designed it. So in case of PandaDoc, for example, we consider an activation event when user sent his first document. So we already understand like, okay, this user sent his first document. Probably he understood like how to do everything for that, right? So he was able to upload a document, he was able to add some fields, he was able to add recipients, and then he was able to send it. So, until user has not done that, he's not considered activated, and all your efforts in product are like should be like in order that you're making this person to do the thing that you want from him. The next stage is called conversion. So usually it happens like when the user is activated and he's using your product, he's using it repeatedly, not only once, depending on like how your business model is working. At some point of time, you're asking the user to pay. So this is where the conversion stage is in place. So everything between user is activated. So you know this user knows how to use the product. And then it's like the stage ends when the user paid you for the first time. This is the stage where you're like optimizing this path to the first payment. The next stage is retention. So the user paid you one time, but it does not mean the user will pay you second time, third time, and so on. So all your efforts on this stage will be, okay, for users on this stage, we need to make it like as much as possible so that the user does not go away and the user is paying you second time, third time, like, and so on. For the like other stages, when the user is paying you, it's okay, but it's better if user pays you more than the user was paying you before. So the user is considered like to be on expansion stage is when you're trying to move the user from just payment to like a bigger payment. So this user can pay for a higher plan in your subscription product, or the user can invite some other people and have you sell this user more licenses. This is called like expansion stage. Some users stop using product, but you can probably save some of them, right? So this is called churn. Churn is when the user is stopping to pay you. And on this stage, when you get like signals from people that they're canceling subscription or they're stopping to use the product, and you understand that they're like going to churn, you can still work with these users and try to save them with some kind of offers, with some calls, with some like trying to save the user from churning and going away so that the user does not cancel your actual subscription. And there is like a thing called resurrection. For some users who cancel, they come back for different reasons. For some users, the business is seasonal or they didn't have money, but then they came back. So there is also a way to resurrect some of your users who canceled if you're engaged with them repeatedly. So all of these stages have interesting ideas to implement. The last one is virality is when you're like also like trying to get more users from viral channels and acquire new users from your users who are already using your product. Okay, so like I said, a funnel is a very nice model to see whether changes you make in product are making a difference. So you can compare two funnels in time. For example, you have you're doing an A/B test, right? And you have a new flow for new users of creating a document, and you have an old flow for new users who are also creating a document, and then you compare how many people actually converted into sending a document, right? So in this example, we see that we have implemented a very nice experiment with our product that helped more users to actually get to send in a document. And we see that drop-offs at each stage are less than they were before. I mean that our experiment was successful. So a funnel can help you to see if your change in product, what you're trying to optimize, is helping more users to get to the later stages of the funnel. You can also compare that in like a way of doing like this line, which is a time series. So like in Amplitude, it's called conversion over time. So again, this is conversion from account created to document sent document, from people who signed up to people who actually sent a document. What's the percentage? And we see that this percentage again changes over time in a window of 2 days. And here again, like usually these metrics are mostly flat if you're not doing anything with them. So in a typical like startup environment, if you have enough traffic, like your line will mostly be flat. And then if you do something, it's usually going like something positive, it's going up. or it's going down. So you will see on this kind of graphs again, like what's happening, and depending on what you release and when, you will be able to actually see if anything that you do in product is making sense. Okay, so when you have built your funnels and you know that you have some drop-offs, you need to generate some ideas on how to improve the situation. Like what I will show you next is something that you can test. It doesn't mean it will work for your product. So basically, just believe your data and not pictures. But I really, really recommend at early stages, if you're early stage, to look at other products which are cool already and who are investing a lot in product-led growth, because the bad artists imitate and the great artists steal. So learning from the masters, what I would recommend you, the products to look at is in this list. So these are the cool, mostly B2B startups and serious companies, which have very nice frameworks for product-led growth and great UX design and UI design and different ways of seeing how these people are trying to maintain this conditional growth among their user base. You may know many of these products. Intercom is very well known, like Notion, Front, Typeform. Most of these companies are multi-million, and they are like, some of them IPO related. So like learn from the masters. It's a great way to educate yourself is to sign up for any of these products and see how they do things, how they sign up users, how they activate users, how they like engage with users, how they convert, and so on. Another advice that I would make is to collect like a mood board or a list of cool growth tactics and growth, like very nice user interfaces and how people do stuff. There are some cool collections here, again, for your self-learning. But like, again, saying that like the real user experience of signing up to some product and see what happens is the best way you can like grow yourself. So some ideas on the acquisition stage is how to attract more people to your website. So product. You want to have a lot of traffic. You want to have leads to your SaaS product. What you do is, what the problem is usually that you can like attract a lot of traffic, but you need to have the traffic, the leads that are relevant to your product, right? So they should be like working together. This is called product channel fit, or the way of like getting users into your product that have intent to use it. Because you can attract a lot of traffic from Nigeria, from different countries, from Cambodia, and people will probably click something, but most of them will not pay. So the acquisition dilemma is not only to attract a lot of traffic, but also to attract the traffic that is high intent, that is going to actually use your product and pay. This nice scheme is just like an example of how you can attract people. I'll probably skip it because I will talk about it in some details. So usually the way people are starting to acquire is to start with something for free. So you have a product and you want to like attract people to make them use it. And there is a tradition of giving away the SaaS products in the cloud for free. Some of the companies are doing freemium. Some of the companies are doing like free trial, but there is like something free out there that is kind of considered to be a tradition, so that people can use the free product and do it by themselves. So there is like here this like always the dilemma of having just a free product or having a free trial. It's a big question that I will not be able to like fully talk about today. If you're starting up, it's probably a good way to try both of these things. Freemium is a bit harder to design. Free trial has a natural time-based stop where people start to pay you. So it's easier to start with a free trial model and to make the trial short, like 14 days, so that you have this like short timing to understand whether people are paying for your product or not. Freemium could be better on like a bit later stages and in cases when you have big addressable market, so that your product is needed by everyone, right? And you have low costs of supporting all of these people and your product is easy to use. And if you see that you're free, like in your freemium model, you have a conversion rate about 3 to 5%. It's like, it's then like it's working. If it's not 3 to 5%, go back, ditch freemium for a while, go back to free trial, figure out your product market fit, and then go back to freemium when you're able to have the product that is actually easy to use, needed by someone, and like you're not spending a lot of time and money on support. Yeah, so basically this is like the same idea in a scheme. It's done by Wazbush, who has a very nice selection of on freemium versus free trial on when to use which. So if your product is complex, has a high complexity, is hard to use, and the price is high, it's better to use free trial. If the product has low price and low complexity, it's better to go with freemium. If, again, low complexity, high price, freemium, here recommends freemium as well. But like freemium is a hard concept. So again, I would start with free trial for very early stages. Okay. One more thing is like at some stages when you're like growing, it's almost impossible to grow if you do not do any kind of freemium. So again, like these things should be, you should keep that in mind, that like it's a great leverage of growth to have a freemium model if you're able to figure it out. Sure, I will skip this one. But like, except for the actual freemium or the free trial, you can also think of something that you can give away for free, but it's not actually your product. It could be like a small separate free product for the ICP persona. ICP is the ideal customer profile that you want to attract. So you would give a small free product for free, and like the bigger product will be paid, right? So like a small portion of your of a like small separate product will be free. It will be attracting these people to your bigger product, and then you will call them, talk to them, or you will just make them flow into your bigger product and they will pay for it. It's like a very popular traffic acquisition strategy. For example, if you like, this is an example of onlinesignature.com. It's like a separate small website that is done by a SaaS product called EverSign. They do document generation and e-signature, similar to what PandaDoc does. So they offer just a small free tool and they collect emails from people who are using this, and then they reach out to these people and they bring some of these people into their bigger product. We also tried a similar thing. It's called createmysignature.com. It's also like a website. It's very small. It's like minimalistic, and it does just one thing. You can draw a signature, or you can sign a PDF document for free, and then we collect the emails of those people, and then we nurture them further. It's a tool called Pando. They also did the same. Pando is a huge product. It's like enterprise size. They have tons of features. So what they decided to do for acquisition is they did a free tool that does just one thing, collects NPS. And then when you're starting to collect NPS with Pando tool, then you're like, later on, you're like being attacked by their email marketing, by the salespeople, and they see if they can convert you into a paying user later on. What else you can give for free? You can also give for free educational content. So again, you're not giving away the product, but you're producing some educational content that is relevant to people who would use your product. And you can also like promote some interesting thought leadership. Again, educational content that is related around your product. The most popular example in this direction is HubSpot Academy. Probably you've heard of it. They have tons of educational material and free courses on marketing, sales, inbound marketing. And basically they have built all of this training just to attract people, because people come in for education, information, and they end up being users of HubSpot. Moreover, they are becoming advocates of HubSpot because they're like telling their friends, so cool educational courses and everything. So this idea is expensive to execute if you're early stage. So you could start small. I was working at a company called Lens Culture. What we did ebooks. It's like this strategy is maybe like 7 or 8 years old, but it still works. So what we did like this free download banner that would make you leave your email and download a PDF. We made beautiful PDFs because like when we tested this, that it's working well, we're able to collect a lot of emails. And then we used that through email marketing and engaging those people to end up with participating in our contests, which were paid service. So yeah, what started was just a free educational content, which started off as something small, but then grew bigger and bigger and more beautiful and interesting because we invested more time into this content and we collected more and more emails from photographers. What else? So except for educational content, you could also give something that would help people to create something on your platform, like free content for creators. Example of PandaDoc, we are using document templates to acquire people who are looking for nicely designed documents. So they search for these documents in Google and they end up on our business templates pages that we have a ton of these templates, and then people pick up the template and pick up the product together with it. A great example is Canva. So Canva is also like attracting people with tons of free content. Canva is a tool to design anything. So if you want to design anything, you can use a template for a poster or for a business card and build something of your own on Canva. And it's like super popular. It's like hyper growth tool. What else can you do? So to acquire more people from the outside, you can also like swim with a big shark. So you can basically partner and integrate with big platforms that are already there. It's also like a popular strategy, and a lot of these like big tools, for example, Intercom, MailChimp, Stripe, like all of them have marketplaces where you could build something like that is like integrates with your product and put it into the marketplace. So it would give you like an inflow of people, of business leads who are using Intercom, and then they may look for something that they lack. But in order to do that, you need to think of some like, again, useful use case. So it shouldn't be something that does something interesting and related to your product. HubSpot, Intercom, MailChimp, like Stripe, Shopify, Atlassian, Slack, all of these like sharks, they have the marketplaces where you could build an app for them and capitalize on the inflow of leads through all of these channels. One more idea for acquisition, and this is specifically for B2B products, is to use review websites. Two most popular are G2Crowd and Capterra. So basically what you need to do is you need to ask your users to leave a review on these websites about your product, and you capitalize on more and more people if they leave reviews. These are the entry points for a lot of buyers of B2B software. And so before buying something, the buyers read reviews and they compare the software that they want to buy. And so like this is a great inflow of very like highly motivated people who are reading the reviews. So your presence on these platforms should be there. And in order to generate reviews, you can ask your users, you can do it like friends and family and everything. So just try to capitalize on those places because they're very, very good source of B2B leads. Like when the users have already came, there is like a list of hacks on how to improve the sign up experience, so that like the less fields you have, the easier it is to sign up, the more people will sign up. This is a bit secondary. So like, again, like the things that are important here, if you're a B2B startup, you're probably going to collect emails from people. The most important thing is to try to collect business emails. So business emails and or work emails are usually the biggest indication of conversion, that these people are like business people, like they're using B2B tools, they're more likely to convert. So the goal for the sign up form is to collect these contact data from people and figure out who of these people are better leads. So who are worse leads? Better leads meaning who are more likely to pay. You can like determine that just by the data that you collect. According to our experience, there are like 3 crucial things that you collect. It's like I said, business email, phone number if you have a sales team who is calling, and company size, because it gives you like the understanding like if the company is big or small, because bigger companies have bigger money, more money, and so on. Of course, like the sign-up experience should be pleasant and smooth so that people don't get like too tired to answer your questions. So again, my recommendation is to not to collect a lot of things, but like these 3 things is likely what you will need to understand if this user who is coming in, is he going to pay or not. In order to like reduce the amount of data we are asking from companies, we do the so-called enrichment. So we're asking for email, then we like use Clearbit. Like it's a tool that is adding information about the lead just by its email. Again, this is a bit more advanced, so I will just skip this one. This is just a couple of examples of nicely looking sign-up forms and like what they're asking. So this is full story. It's like beautiful. It's like 1, 2, 3. What's your name? What do you do? So like nicely designed. So this is all just to make this sign-up experience a bit more pleasant because no one likes filling those forms. Yeah, okay. Another like nice example is just Airtables, again, trying to ask questions that qualify me as their potential customer. They're asking like, why would I be using it? What kind of company I work for? What's my role? How big is the company? So like this is what's helping them to determine whether or not to call me right away or to just attack me with email messages or what kind of email messages to send to me. So this is all just to increase the chances of getting additional human touch. Okay, so like I said, this presentation has more examples for like other stages of the funnel, of the product funnel that I mentioned, but that's where we stop for today. And I would like to leave some time for questions, and I will be happy to answer if you have some.
Okay, thank you, Tanya. I think, yes, I just wanted to ask you to stop sharing your screen so that we can be all in here. Thank you for the presentation. I think Viesturs has a couple of questions, so I'll give the floor to him.
Okay, I think maybe I don't. Let's start. There is a question and answer section. There is a longer question, which is actually a writing which does contain a question. And I can probably rephrase it because I read it first, Tanya. It will be easier for you. How much of that thing you told us is applicable to hardware startups?
Okay, interesting. How it depends. Like funnel model is applicable to like any product. Like I said, if you're like going to sell it, right? So for hardware, it's probably the question is how do you sell it again? So if you sell it with the help of a website, or if you sell it through like different kinds of platforms that you have, you still basically have the same like way of people from getting from a moment they would find your product somehow, and then to purchase it. And so on this stage, it would still may be helpful to build a funnel and see where the people are dropping off and how to lead more people into this funnel of helping them to get your hardware and buy it.
I would just on top of that, I just may add my 2 cents indeed. And I think fully agree 100% with Tanya that the funnel concept of sales and marketing and sales, whatever is there for you, right, is universal. The problem with hardware startups, and I've done a few hardware startups in the past as well, the problem with hardware startups, if you grow and scale, is that, and first of all, the hardware startups are way more like badly scalable than the software, and that's lots of different philosophical questions here. But the problem with the funnel of the hardware startups oftentimes indeed is that they sometimes that conversion happens online in a digital channel and sometimes offline, right? Particularly if some elements of that. And those offline conversions and offline touch points are difficult to measure. Mm-hmm. And this is, again, there's lots of people try going great length actually measuring that. I know about 3 or 4 startups who build like a smart beacons that kind of try to guess largely how people convert in stores and everything, and so on and so forth. It's a very difficult thing. So in that sense, the software product, or at least the software hardware product interaction in a digital channel and conversion in digital channel is easier. So this is a matter of measurement. Sometimes you just have a very vague idea what's happening between the point A and point B. But one simple advice actually for you hardware guys, if you're the hardware guys out there, is that you actually sometimes can really draw those customer journey maps and then like simply simplify your funnel to the things that are measurable. It will still be approximate because you will like lose out a few things, but it will be kind of followable in a sense. So there are a couple of ways around it, but the principle is there always, including the hardware startups. So there's another question, Tanya. Can you read it?
Is it like from Andres?
Yeah, that's the last one because somehow Andres doesn't have a clock on the device, so that then he tricks the QA board because he goes like after everybody else with a clock on the device. Yeah. Anyways.
Okay. So how high would you rate the importance of sales team for a B2B SaaS with self-service? What if your SaaS audience is not tech oriented? It's not other startups. Well, I would recommend to have a sales team always. So it's like it's just 2 separate things. So you can do self-service and your product can be very much automated for people to convert, and you would be able to convert them they will do it, pay you by themselves. But it never hurts to have a sales team, or at least like you can start with as little as just 1 person who is calling your leads. Especially if it's like B2B software, it's definitely much easier to sell through a person than to sell through a product. So like self-service is saving you some money on this like huge sales team. And of course, like if you don't have an ability to do that, you can live without that. A lot of startups are doing it this way and they don't have any kind of sales team and they're boasting that they don't. In case of PandaDoc, we have both. And so we have like a decent portions of revenue coming from both channels. And like I said, it's a huge benefit for you, especially on early stage, if you talk to your customers and you're trying to sell to them and understand why they buy or why they don't buy. Because this dialogue is also what's helping you to build a better product. And this is something I would highly recommend. Even if it's not like a sales team, you as a founder, please call your leads and call your customers who are like at some stages of to conversions, who are like using your product but not buying, or using and buying. Like talking to customers is always a huge inflow of information on how to improve the product and how to actually improve the process of getting money from your customers. If your audience is not tech oriented, I would recommend it to call them twice more, because definitely like it's sometimes hard for them to understand like how to use the interface. And so they need a person to help them figure it out. In many cases, yeah, if people who are coming in, they're not tech savvy and you're onboarding them with the help of your salesperson, and then they become paid customers easier.
Okay. So any other question at this stage? Just don't be shy of posting your questions.
Thanks to Kate for the Safe PandaDoc hashtag. Yeah.
Tanya, can you give back the hosting rights to Lena, to Team Riga?
Okay, just a second. How do I?
Yeah,
do that?
Just by nominating her host.
Oh, okay.
That's simple.
Make host.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you have it now. Okay. Yeah. So if I still have, Tanya, one question from my side, it's very kind of generic, but I just want to hear probably the maybe your PandaDocs experience, talking about funnel and talking about the conversion and planning for conversion. Is there a single most efficient, most like a silver bullet type of a variable to address? Is it all does all the trick? Because there's lots of like weird discussions going on in a sphere, right? Whether this is an acquisition cost is a trick, or I don't know, the churn, like killing the churn is a trick or something, or this is a complex thing, or maybe this is a product dependent thing. I hope you got the question. It's very broad, but I want to have your first-hand experience of that. Is it a silver bullet that if you're short-handed and know nothing, with one single shot you will get the best out of it?
Yeah. So one single shot is you have a highly growing market and it's new and you don't have competitors. That's like, I mean it like, yeah, if you have a shitty product, but you have a growing market and just the demand is there, you will be getting the golden reins of money.
Right.
Like,
this is a great answer. This is not about you guys. Let's be humble. That's about the market, the growth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You should be like, if you're on the wave, like the higher the wave, the more money you get. Yeah. You can get off with a shitty product for several years until you have like many other competitors who are serving the same need. I had some examples of like other startups I saw. So like in this case, they are just riding the wave, and like it's everything else is of less importance. So that's the silver, I don't know, the golden bullet.
But it's hard. That's a very honest. That's a very honest one. So just be lucky, guys. That was Tanya's answer. No, actually, you also have to know you can plan. You can plan for the opportunity as well. Anyway.
Yeah, you should like just be ready to embrace the opportunity and just to catch it, see the trends and to see like the demand growing. Because like a lot of these things have been happening around through the past like 10, 15 years. And happened with mobile, happened with like different kinds of SaaS tools and everything. So like if you're like around the market, it usually helps if you have some previous experience. For example, like if you want to build some kind of, I know, SaaS product for some specific audience and you see that there is no one, usually you get these opportunities when you're like around these people. So like you can use your experience of, I don't know, of being in a construction company or in an accounting company and see where these opportunities, they're like somewhere they're born.
What's the new you just see what's the new black before everybody other did, right? So that's a simple, just ride the wave. There's a good friend of mine, a serial entrepreneur, who tends to say, in other words, that in a strong wind, even the fried turkeys fly, right?
Oh.
Meaning that actually, and that's a super good insight actually, guys, because the fastly growing market forgives you business model mistakes. But the stagnant market or the end market never does, right?
Yeah, it's like it's hard to go to a market where you have like a lot of competitors and well, what you can offer. So it's like, yeah, but there are some underserved people with underserved demand that are having problems.
That's a great insight. So it's better to like in being informed and then market intelligence is so much more important at some point than the user experience you're building. Okay.
Exactly.
There is in a chat part some question to you from Ilya.
Yeah. Shitty product right in the wave, company name or product name or app just in it.
That's very straightforward. That's what we are for here.
Well, yeah, I'm just not sure. I will give you the names of the companies that I know. But like, for example, like if you look at Salesforce, right? Like how Salesforce looks, and like it's basically super hard to use and everything, but they, at the moment they started their product, they were like almost like the first ones, right? So, and now everyone is like, okay, Salesforce is a gold standard on the CRM market, and they're still growing like hell, but the product is basically, it's so outdated. It's like 1995 interface, and it's like so much buttons and everything. So people are not like used to that kind of products anymore, but it had been like almost the first to disrupt, and now they're like there, right?
We can also turn the question around and ask the attendees, maybe you can come up with good examples of roasted turkeys flying. Right? Maybe you have that experience.
Yeah, so
Tanya was polite, not pointing fingers, but you have like your personal UX has been maybe suffering occasionally. You can come up with that.
Very, very much. Yeah.
Right. If there are still questions waiting for maybe some examples or some questions, I still want to bring up the freemium discussion, and this is also very kind of very. People are very opinionated in freemiums, and they're
a separate one.
Yeah, this is just a quick one.
Okay.
In your slide, you said that 3 to 5% conversion is kind of a goal, is okay. Is that what you think it is, or it is again depending on the business model and the monetization ability? Because oftentimes it's still a penny business, and you need to convert more, which is very few examples can do more in this world.
Yeah. I mean, this is the conversion rate. It's like a benchmark. It's not something that I invented. I took it from some cool guy who did some research. So probably it's somewhere at my presentation. There is a link to that. So, but this relates to our experience at PandaDoc. So 3 to 5% is quite a lot if you have a huge inflow of traffic that is created by the freemium model. So the freemium model does create you a lot of like users who are coming in. And so like when the user base grows, you get like this, this attracts like a ton of people. And many of these people, they're not like users who are like ever intended to pay. So this is like, again, a benchmark conversion, works well for B2B SaaS, works well from what I know for like games, like if you
all the content, as we know, the most famous example breaking the law of 5% is Spotify.
5% is like, whew.
No, yeah, but Spotify is 30, think of it.
Yeah.
35, I think, or something.
Yeah, and so is Slack,
version.
and so is Slack. So Slack is like 30%.
Yeah,
but again, yeah, but these are exceptions. So for a trial, there is like a higher benchmark for conversion from 15 to 20% is good conversion. But again, like this very much depends.
In Panda's example, what is the differentiator of the free version and a paid version? Is it like based on data, and what is the unit of sort of measurement? Is it accounts? I'm just not that familiar with that. Is it accounts? Is it the data amounts? Is it frequency of maybe, or is it some kind of new functionality? Because this is also very tricky, sort of variable in designing freemiums, because you have to figure out which is the thing out of those things, which are people really see the value to pay for, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so in our case, we did not go like the popular way of doing this. The popular way is you, from like freemium to paid, you're charging for something that is like a scale of the value, and it's based on something that people are already using in the freemium version. In our case, it's not like the number of documents or the number of users, which would be easier to explain. But in our case, it's the new functionality that we're adding up to the free version. And why we did it this way is because we wanted to disrupt our biggest competitor. And so basically what we did is like we're giving what they have in the paid version, we're giving it for free. Well, like in very like simplified explanation, right? And then like everything else where we are differentiating from them, we're like topping that up, and this is already a paid product. So that's kind of was our hypothesis of freemium. Like you said, like it's a hard question, so we will probably be iterating if it's not working well. It's a bit too early to say when we launched it in March. And we also like kind of marketed it as a response to COVID. So it was like a COVID promotion thing. So we now have a free product that you can use instead of our paid competitor. That
you can even bring the COVID zeitgeist into Panda.product. That's smart move. That's smart move. I don't know what. Okay, that's not about you guys, but what some of the companies will do if the pandemics will end. The only marketing message someone's listening to will disappear. But okay.
I think people are already tired of COVID, but I still see this wave rising. So like it's maybe a bit like already too late, but I saw like a ton of great startup ideas that rode the wave of COVID, and actually they grew 6, 7, 5, like 10 times. And like this is something that is like an example of a trend that's like if you're in time there and you have product and you have everything, so you can write it.
Right. So basically, actually, a good insight from Tanya, if I can generalize that, oftentimes you develop for example, in the case of freemium model, and sometimes also the pricing strategies. If you are really wanting to disrupt some other existing business model of a close competition, then you actually benchmark it quite head to head with them. So seeing that, okay, this is the functionality or the freemium kind of variants these guys are doing, and then you just try to trump it with a sweeter offering. I think that is pretty much that stuff. Any other questions? So we're nearing 8 o'clock Riga time, so it's about the roundup, guys. So yeah. Okay. Back to
me. Yeah, thank you guys. This turned out to be more of an interesting chat and very, very exciting with lots of fun examples. Thanks to everyone who's watching. Thank you, Tanya, for participating. It was really nice for you to explain a couple of things in more detail. I was telling to Viester just quietly during your presentation that it's really nice that you explained what a funnel is, and in a really nice way that is really understandable for everyone. Thanks. Thank you for participating, to both of you. For all the attendees, I just wanted to mention a couple of points. I shared with you a calendar invite to the public calendar for all the next sessions. All the information regarding today's event, the recordings, all the extra stuff, we will send you via email. In case you don't receive one, please message us at Techabriga. But all in all, you should be receiving an email tomorrow, all of you, regarding all of this information that we had today. Okay, so if there are no any other questions, thank you to all, and we will tune off for today, and see you all, for the participants, see you all next week.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.